Hello and welcome to Tech Craic, the podcast series brought to you by SyncNI, Northern Ireland's leading technology and business media company. This podcast series will see us speak with some of the best, brightest and influential thought leaders from across our local tech sector. Visit syncni.com and follow us across our social media channels to find out more. Enjoy!
Hello and welcome to Tech Craic, the podcast brought to you by SyncNI, Northern Ireland's leading dedicated business and technology publication. We are joined today by Eddie Coghlan, Head of Development at TP ICAP, who joined the global fintech company back in 2019. Also joining us today is, of course, Kelly Nixon, Senior Tech Recruitment Consultant at Vanrath. Kelly has worked in the industry for over 20 years, and together you both have heaps of experience and insights. So thank you very much for joining us today and sharing some of those with us. Eddie, if we could jump to you first, we would love to hear a bit more about TP ICAP. For our readers who might not be aware, can you tell us a bit more about them and what you guys do?
Yeah, so TP ICAP Group, we're the world's largest integrated broker. We are a world-leading provider of financial markets, infrastructure and data. We connect institutional buyers and sellers in the world's financial, energy and commodities markets, offering deep liquidity and unique data, empowering our clients to transact with confidence.
So, Kelly, you have worked in the tech recruitment industry for over 20 years, as we mentioned before, and you're the Senior IT Recruitment Consultant at Vanrath. Can you talk us through your own role in more detail, what it involves and the types of roles that you work with?
Yes, my role as a recruitment consultant is building relationships. So building relationships with the client and also the candidates. When it comes to building a relationship with the client, we like to really understand the client's requirements, the type of work that they do, their culture, the type of people that they're looking for, because sometimes the tech skills are just a part of that. It's the type of individual. And then when it comes to the candidates, it's about getting to know the candidates, what drives them, what interests them, what type of thing that they are looking for, what type of work they want to do or be involved with when it comes to tech stack and even the domain. Some people are interested in particular domains. And then it's about, I suppose, matching the best talent, the best candidates that are on the market with the best opportunities for them. Yes, so it's a bit like kind of sort of matching them up, matching the requirements with the right talent.
Perfect.
And the type of roles that I recruit for are software engineering positions, mostly senior engineer roles and above. So architects, principals, that type of thing.
Yeah, it sounds so interesting. And Eddie, bringing it back to TP ICAP, exactly why is the technology department so important to your organisation?
It basically underpins our business, so technology allows us to operate day to day. On top of that, as an integrated broker, we transact in many ways, a lot of which are very complex and bespoke. So there's not technical solutions that we can buy off the shelf. So from our perspective, technology is definitely a differentiator. It allows us to provide strategic advantage to complex solution or complex issues, and it allows us to drive continued growth and to build new products, all of which are key to our client engagement.
That's great. Kelly, when it comes to IT recruitment, what would you say are the most in-demand job roles right now? I ask because some of our listeners would be keen to enter the field of IT, and your response might help shed some light on what skills they should focus on.
Okay, so in previous years, the demand was mostly for the likes of Java and .NET engineers. But we're finding things changing, obviously, with the likes of AI coming on board. There's a lot more demand for AI skills. The development roles are slightly different now in that there's more demand for full stack development skills. Things like Node.js and Python are big in demand.
Brilliant. That's really interesting. So it's just sort of a case of sort of keeping an eye on those job roles that are on the market at the moment and sort of trying to work your skill sets to match that. That's great. Eddie, can you tell us some more about some of the exciting projects TP ICAP are undertaking and how have these impacted its growth?
So we have recently announced Project Compass. So Project Compass for us is a major internal transformation program, and it's aimed at transforming TP ICAP into a more dynamic, innovative and efficient org. And that's by simplifying processes. But from a tech perspective, it's really about simplifying and modernizing our technology estate and trying to provide and foster a more collaborative work environment. Obviously, with any large transformation program, it does require resources to be able to deliver all the sort of milestones. So there is a growth opportunity for the company in terms of resourcing.
Brilliant. That's great. Kelly, going back to yourself, you've been involved in IT recruitment for over 20 years. How much has the industry changed and evolved during this time? It's such a fast-paced, ever-evolving industry, isn't it?
It is indeed. And I'm showing my age. It's actually under 20 years. So back whenever I started, it was more local, smaller companies that maybe had a software developer opportunity or two. We then saw big players like the likes of City and Allstate coming to Belfast, and that was kind of the start of a massive influx of FDI, so foreign direct investment. A lot of startups and global and American companies coming to Belfast, setting up their development centres. For years, we had a massive demand for software engineers, and the engineers had a lot of options and opportunities. Over the last couple of years, it has been a lot quieter, as I'm sure most people know. We've been going through things on a global stage with the economy and that type of thing. So in recent months, we've started to see things pick up. Large companies like TP ICAP, really, really good news, are starting to hire again. So there's a lot more opportunities available than were available, probably last year. So things are more stable now. It's probably a little bit trickier to get roles. So it's very important that people keep up to date with their skills. Interview processes are slightly tougher, but there are still lots of opportunities, and we're seeing an increase in that.
Oh, that's brilliant news. We mentioned and touched upon there how fast and quickly evolving the tech world is. So Eddie, how does TP ICAP stay up to date with the latest trends in technology?
So all the usual methods, we look at the internet, we attend conferences, we listen to the likes of the podcasts, but we try to maximize the benefit of some of our strategic partners, especially large hyperscalers like AWS. So TP ICAP have recently signed another long-term partnership agreement with AWS. That allows us to work with people who are definitely knowledgeable in the cloud. A lot of our work is in the cloud, and it accelerates our product development. Using initiatives like game days, hackathons, getting Amazon's on site to help us learn things that maybe we haven't been aware of before. And the key thing is, like, we'll do POCs and we'll fail fast, because you're not going to know everything all at once, all out of the box. We think cloud first, and the key thing about working with a hyperscaler like Amazon is not just about developing an application and getting it out there. It is about making sure that, as a 24/6 business, we operate following the sun. Operational excellence and observability is also key to us. So accelerating the development, but ensuring we know how to implement and run projects, programs, and obviously products in the cloud in our production environment is all key to us. There's the types of benefit that we get from AWS.
In terms of the skills and qualifications that TP ICAP looks for in technology candidates entering the financial services industry, what sort of things would you be looking for?
But I mean, if it's entry level, the traditional uni route is still bread and butter for a lot of companies. However, over the past number of years, with the demand of technology, we've went a bit further afield. So, we've started doing intern programs to allow people to come in and do work experience, and then successful colleagues can then maybe get a job at the end of it. And we've also embraced the recent apprenticeship initiative. So we kicked that off about 3 years ago, and we've taken apprentices on every year. And this year, the first two apprentices who finished their education and their time with us, we've offered full-time jobs. So one of our apprentices actually won the Apprentice of the Year award as part of their graduation ceremony. So yeah, we try to be innovative when it comes to recruitment as well.
Yes, so this question is for both of you. What are some of the biggest challenges facing IT at the moment, and particularly technology departments, and how can we overcome these challenges?
That's right. I mean, depending on what sector you're aligned with, the answer could be different. Sort of three common themes that I find, regardless of sector, is budget. Everybody's always under the course to reduce costs, do things faster and cheaper while maintaining quality. So I don't think what industry you're aligned with in the technology sector, budget's always a challenge. Speed of change is the next sort of thing. Product development, business wanting releases faster, feature changes faster, working in an agile methodology, making sure that you can deliver at the speed the business want is probably the next biggest challenge. And then finally, staff retention. Technology is a challenging sector. There's always opportunities out there in different orgs for people to, try and move job to. So if you're not keeping your staff technically challenged, engaged, and a good culture and a good fit for them to work in, you're at risk of losing your best.
And thank you. And Kelly, what
And I
about
can
yourself?
say that the culture at TP ICAP is very strong. I actually used to work here as well, so I can speak to that myself personally. Yeah, challenges would be, as just very similar to what Eddie said, probably, well, it boils down to cost and budget. So on my side of things, it's, trying to get candidates for the salaries that are on offer who tick all the boxes and fall within that salary bracket. And obviously companies now are very tied to those and don't tend to be able to go outside of certain ranges, whereas before maybe there was a little bit more flexibility. There doesn't seem to be that flex now.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. That's good to know. Thank you so much, both of you, for those insights. Eddie, in terms of advice for recent graduates or career switchers considering a role in IT, what should their next steps be? What should they do in preparation?
I mean, again, just going back to the previous answer slightly, technology changes so fast. So while it is a rewarding career, it's fast moving. Nothing stays the same for too long. So as a new employee, as a new graduate, even a recent changer to different jobs, staying abreast of the new technologies, making sure you're abreast of the recent trends, changes in technology, and just constantly challenge yourself to learn and stay on top. If you stand still in technology, you get bypassed. So just that constant learning, constant striving for improvement.
Fantastic. And coming to yourself, Kelly, in terms of your point of view from a recruitment specialist, what advice would you give to anyone considering a career in IT?
My advice is go for it. There's a lot of opportunities out there in IT. Education is important, but it's not the only route into IT. As Eddie mentioned earlier, there's a lot of apprenticeships and different entry routes into a technical career. So it's important for people who maybe don't have the ability to go to university or the finances or whatever the reason, for them to kind of look at other routes into IT. Also, again, similar to what Eddie said, it's very important to keep up to date with technologies because it does move so fast. So there's lots of stuff that people can be doing at home. There's different websites and things where you can practice coding in different languages. So if your desire is to get into a role in development, my advice is to be doing things at home in your own time. Also, if someone is at university, they should definitely try to have a year or however long work experience. I think, having that commercial experience as well as their education, it makes them just stand out that little bit ahead of other candidates.
Fantastic. Yes, in terms of sort of that practical experience, it really makes a difference, doesn't it? Applying that real world knowledge. Yes, that's brilliant. And in terms of TP ICAP, Eddie, how does the company support the professional development and career growth of its IT employees?
So colleague progression and development is very important to us. We like to attract good staff and more importantly, we like to retain them. As I said, interdealer brokers, it's a very bespoke business and domain knowledge and understanding the environment we operate is very important. So as well as the usual training and development programs, we have well-defined job families and career paths throughout our org to make sure that people can satisfy their career development needs. We also have an internal mobility. This allows colleagues where they have the right skills to progress careers internally across different departments or across different regions if they have the skills that fit the job.
That's brilliant. And a question for both of you, because Kelly, you work so closely with TP ICAP, and obviously Eddie, you've worked there for, is it 6 years yourself?
Coming up to 6 years, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. What do you both think sets TP ICAP apart from others in the IT industry regarding work culture and opportunities for growth?
I mean, our culture, people say work hard, play hard, and we try to work hard, but we've defined what we call a set of AAA values. So accountability, adaptability, and authenticity. That's what we live and die by. We've tried to get a culture that brings the best out of our colleagues but create a fun and engaging environment for our colleagues to develop and thrive. While work is important, meeting milestones, meeting deliverables, it is key to have a culture where colleagues feel empowered, engaged, and enjoy coming to work. So that's the motto we try to live by.
TP ICAP, I think what makes it stand out is the potential for growth and career development. Some of the engineers that I placed here 8 years ago, I think TP ICAP set up 8 years ago, have now progressed from engineer and senior engineer right up to senior architects and heads of functions. So the progression opportunities are real. It's not just pie in the sky and this could be you. It does happen. The culture as well, there's a lot of family days and events, and they really go all out for the kids and the families of the people that work here. And I think that's important. It's something that, just makes people's families feel part of it as well. Yeah.
Yes, that is so important, isn't it? And it just really adds to that overall culture, which really shines through from both of your responses. It just sounds like a lovely place to work, a lovely culture, as you say, and just like there's a nice balance as well, nice work-life balance there, and just those opportunities for career progression, which are so important. So Kelly, moving on in more general terms for people working with caring and or family responsibilities, how do they find out more about the culture of a company? For example, like TP ICAP, they've just got a lovely culture. How would people find out about that during the recruitment process in order to ensure that any potential moves would be the right fit for them?
This is where a recruitment consultant comes in. We wouldn't tend to explore those questions with a candidate before submitting them to any particular client. We would understand their needs and what requirements they had for flexibility, and not, submit them to an organisation that couldn't offer those. And it's also important for any candidate doing an interview to be very honest and upfront about these things. Obviously your career is very important, but so is your family. But if it's a full-time job, you have a full-time responsibility. So flexibility, I suppose, it doesn't mean that it's a part-time role. It means that you have to work your role around your responsibilities. So my advice would be just to be very honest with your recruiter, and also, honest with the employer. But a recruiter, myself anyway, wouldn't be sending a candidate to a role that doesn't suit them in terms of flexibility.
Perfect. That's fantastic, Kelly. Thank you. For a question for both of you, just to finish up, how do you both see the future of the IT industry evolving, and what opportunities should job seekers be aware of?
Going to go?
Go first, yeah.
Well, things are getting better. They have been quite stagnant for the last couple of years, so things are getting better. And obviously the roles that are here with TP ICAP is a huge, good news story for Belfast. It's great to see there's more opportunities coming up, and things are starting to move again. So hopefully that's things on the turn.
I mean, from my perspective, I go back to technology never stops. It's always constantly evolving. The biggest innovation in recent years has been the rapid growth of AI. And, I don't see that stopping. I don't think anybody right now would be able to predict where it'll end, or where the sort of journey of AI would go. But, understand the benefits of AI, and AI in particular in the short term, and the sort of benefits it's brought in terms of, disseminating our data sets, people understand lots of data quicker, automating repeat mundane tasks, etc. It's pretty key in that you learn and adapt as you go. So within TP ICAP, we have implemented Gen AI. We've allowed colleagues to get rid of them sort of mundane tasks and them to focus on the more value-add business challenges that we have to solve. Using the likes of our AWS agreement and partnership, we have implemented an internal AI and innovation lab to allow us to explore benefits that we can bring into the business, and to make sure that we maximize the opportunities that the new technology brings. So, AI and the future would be quite exciting from a sort of technology perspective.
Yes, that's fantastic. Some very exciting times ahead then, moving forward. Yeah, brilliant. And in terms of exciting news, actually, Ellie, you mentioned there the news that TP ICAP, of course, has some available roles opening up at the moment. Isn't that right?
Yes, it is indeed. There's a number of engineering opportunities available in TP ICAP in Belfast. There are, well, Eddie would be better to tell you the types of roles, full stack engineering, senior
So
roles.
full stack engineering roles and moving forward, maybe some product development roles as well be coming to Belfast. This is all aligned with the growth that would be coming under the Project Compass and the transformation program that we're going into. So it is good news from a TP ICAP Belfast perspective and wider because Compass just goes beyond Belfast.
Fantastic. That's brilliant news. And if anyone wants to find out more about that, can they link up with you, Kelly?
Yes, please.
Perfect. Well, that's brilliant, Eddie and Kelly. Thank you so much for joining Sync and I today and for your time.